Hi, welcome back. Live streaming while my wife left to get her nails done. She may be back early though, and if she does come back early, she may bring us something for dinner. So who knows how long this will take? It could take 25 minutes to 3 hours. And I am painting. Actually, I'm finishing up a few things like putting the grass and the rocks on the base of my Venger so that, and that means I'll have to put a hard coat on him. I like using GW hard coat, letting it completely dry. That's kind of key. And then you can go over it with a satin or matte varnish. And not only will you have a very well protected miniature, but a lot of the times it actually looks better than when you started. But you got to get past the gloss coat in the beginning, because that gloss coat, some people will be like, damn, I ruined the miniature. And it's like, you didn't ruin it, you just got to wait, just got to have the patience to let it do its thing, you know what I mean? So also, I think today, it's been a while since I've done this. I'm going to reach out directly to the main man and send a invite to him and see how he feels about it. Of course, he's getting ready to cook dinner. Oh, there's my pops posted a picture of him when he had graduated high school up in New York. I'll tell you what, my pops was a pretty handsome guy. That's a fact. He was a handsome guy. So anyway, let me find my brother on my list. I got a whole list. And send this directly to him. Paste, yes. And boom. And then we can go back here, right? This is super exciting. Yeah. Man, tired today. And I went to bed kind of early, but I mean, I don't know. I think what's got me so tired, honestly, is Valheim. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all. Maybe I mean it in a good way. That game has really kind of grabbed me by the short and hairies, or the short and curlies, whatever the saying is. And I find myself playing it. And the problem is, maybe I need to turn the music off, because the music in Valheim is amazing. But at the same time, it's kind of like Minecraft. What time is it for something? Good morning to you, Mobius. How are you? Yeah, I sent you a link directly, Hungar. So there's
what time is it?
4:30.
4:56.
Okay.
What time do I eat dinner?
Just whenever you want. You're kind of a rebel like that.
Look.
Are you cooking?
Almost done. I'm getting ready to plate the risotto and finish my salad and garlic bread.
Risotto?
Yeah.
Never had risotto.
It's that microwave Uncle Ben stuff.
Oh, so it's a rice dish, huh?
Yeah.
So
I think it's gay for rice or something. I think that's what it means.
So you're basically just on here to tell me you're not going to be able to join because.
it's dinner time, but I wanted to come on and at least give you that common courtesy.
Well, I appreciate it.
Man, I had
What?
a messed up dream last night and you were in it.
Oh, yeah? Was I beating you with a bamboo stick?
No, but we were arguing like crazy.
Why?
Because you was being a jerk.
Well, I mean, sometimes dreams reflect reality.
Yeah, but you're not a jerk.
Are you sure?
I don't think you're that much of a jerk anyway.
That much. See, you said that much. Hey, James Lowry, how you doing, bro?
I think you're actually pretty dang cool.
Yeah, but I think you feel like you have to say that because you're my little brother.
No, not really.
Like you feel like you have an obligation.
No, because if I thought you were being an asshole, you know for a fact that it's like you were saying the other day when like everybody was playing your game. And you're like, I think they were just saying that because they're my friends. It's like, dude, you know our friends. If it sucked, they'd have been like, dude, I know you tried hard, but this shit sucks.
Yeah, well, but the reason that it's like not a fair, and this is going to sound very arrogant to some people, but the game might actually suck. And it just turns out I'm that good at running games.
Well, I think that the game's cool and you're that good at running games.
And people are going to be like, damn, that's kind of arrogant. But I mean, I don't mean to be arrogant, but after 30 years plus 40, really, if you haven't figured out how to run a game, just hang it up.
Sometimes the truth can come off as arrogance.
Yeah, and I don't want to, be like off-putting, but yeah. That's why when I watch like the really famous online DMs, Mercer and Perkins and stuff, I'm always like, God, they suck. It's not envy, it's experience. You know what I mean? Granted, they're playing a different style than I am, so I guess we can cut them a little bit of a break there.
You can try to cut Mercer on the break you want, but I think he's a tool.
Well, his girlfriend used to be hot. Or wife. I don't know if they're married, but you know how Double D occasionally shows the redhead washing the Batmobile?
Yeah.
That's Matt Mercer's girlfriend, wife, whatever.
You know what?
But apparently she did my sound seems to be malfunctioning. Let me check. Let's see what mic the computer is using.
You're coming through loud and clear for me.
Yeah, Yeti Nano says everything is awesome. So James Lowry,
everything is cool when you're part of a team.
It could be on your side, homie, because you're so far away. So far away into my. Who did that song, Hoss?
Leave
love
in my head. Hemorrhage in my hand by Fuel.
That is a pretty. That is a decent '90s song.
They also did that song, Dreams, Champagne Dreams. Strawberry Surprise, Piglet Linen and White Paper.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
But then again, I'm a fan of a lot of 90s music.
You know what 90s song I listen to quite often?
Hey Man, Nice Shot.
Damn, you know me too well, brother.
I wish I would have met you.
Filter.
But now it's a little late.
Yeah, everything about that song is just kind of badass, you know?
You also listen to Cake a lot.
Well, I love Cake. Pretty much everything Cake did, I'm a fan of. Yeah.
And Real Big Fish.
Well, I saw Real Big Fish in concert like 7-8 times.
times.
So yeah.
Which I can't blame you for that because Take on Me by Real Big Fish is the definitive version. In my opinion.
My favorite Real Big Fish song is Beer.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yep. Called me up last night. Said she loved me so. Doesn't matter anymore.
She got a girlfriend now.
Who does?
The song by Real Big Fish.
Oh.
She got a girlfriend now.
Well, those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end. Do you remember that song?
Yeah.
That's an old song. And the artist was a Welsh woman.
I think Me First and the Gimme Gimmes did a better job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But then again, anytime Punk Band does a remix of like old pop music, it just makes me happy.
Right. So there's Mad Cat. Hola to you, Mad Cat. I hope you're doing well. We are building a religion. We're building it bigger. We're widening the corridors and adding more lanes. We're building a religion, a limited edition. Uh, I don't know who that is. Could be Bad Religion. I mean,
Hey, now on this Easter Sunday, I just want to let everybody know and remind everybody how John, I think it was John, totally did a diss on Peter, saying how they all ran to the temple or to the grave site of Jesus, to the cave.
Yeah.
But he outran them all because they all a bunch of little bitches.
Well,
and it was the words of God that he was writing down. So it's pretty much guys like, you know what, John? You go ahead and show those fools who's the best.
Oh, John. Him and his brother, Big James, constantly
dissing the other prophets.
Well, but, and I don't want to turn this into a religious thing, but everybody knows the best gospel was written by Matthew. Mainly because he had the more logical, organized mind of the bunch of them. So his gospel is very precise. Whenever it says that something was done, it gives like dates, times, places, who was there. Oh, that's Cake. Yeah. I mean, I do have to admit, as far as Cake goes, one of my favorite songs of theirs is the remake of I Will Survive.
Because at first I was petrified.
Yeah.
And I could never live without you by my side.
Well, hold on. Let me finish my thought, man. Cake's I Will Survive. If you are at all into the music, not just the lyrics and everything, has one of the most badass bass lines
someone said to
ever.
Chance.
It's like, I don't know how anyone could listen to that song and then not put Cake's bassist up there on the list of badass bassists,
Badass bassist.
Yeah, but he's not on the list. Everybody always says like Flea and
Well, nobody can argue that Flea's not a great bassist.
Right. I'm not arguing whether Flea is a great bassist. I'm saying that the bassist for Cake is absolutely badass and doesn't get any credit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I made some AI images of all of us sitting around a table playing D&D, except instead of describing you specifically, I described your characters.
Did mine come out looking like Hungar the Starvarian?
It come out looking like a dwarf with a spear strapped across his back, leaned over a table with role-playing game books and dice all over it.
That's freaking badass, dude.
And center and at the end of the table is a bearded man, and all the players are sitting around kind of, and Solzerai is right next to me with her blonde hair. Next to her is a little cute gnome. And then you've got the two dwarves and the warrior on the one side and the ranger on the other side. And apparently you've been following our...
Oh, we're waiting on this garlic bread. We're not leaving.
You've been following what's going on our private messaging?
Yes.
What do you think?
I
mean, I'll let him start over if he wants to. It's not getting off my back. You know what I mean?
I am not. Only thing I've got to say about this situation is it's atypical for any game that we play. He's going to make a character, and then after playing it like 3 or 4 times, he's going to ask you if it's okay if he remakes a new character.
And I'm going to keep letting him, but every time he does, his character's going to start off at the starting line. So,
yeah. If that's what he really wants to do, then let him do it. I agree with you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was, you've ran games before, and I know some people might have all kinds of opinions about it, but to me, I mean, I guess I could say no. You got to play the character that you were playing, but I mean, why? What's the point? You know what I mean? And you guys out there listening who play role-playing games, I'd love to hear your opinions on this. I mean, the situation is one of the players in the group has decided, mainly because another player who Hungar and I have been playing D&D with off and on for like decades, has reappeared from the past and created what we all knew he would create, a human ranger. Because it's either human ranger or half-orc ranger every time. That's what he does. He's a human ranger. But there was a character in the game already who was playing a ranger. Now, do I have a problem with multiples of the same class in a game with 7, 8, maybe 9 players? No, of course not.
No, because we've got a couple of fighters, we've got a couple of clerics.
Yeah, and he's like, I want to play like a Viking style character that likes telling stories around the campfire, blah, blah, blah. And that's why I said, well, you're talking about playing a warrior, but if you want to be a storyteller, shouldn't you make a bard, but kind of treat it like a skald? And he said he's going to look into it. I mean,
I look at it this way too. It's his game also.
Hey, what's up, Ultra American? Well, yeah. I mean, it's everybody's game that shows up. You show up, then
he's not happy with the character he's got. Just let him make another one. Maybe he'll be happy with it and enjoy the game more.
I don't know if it has to do with happiness or he just feels like there's only room for one ranger in the group.
Which that doesn't make sense to me because there's room for everybody.
That's what I was saying. I mean, with as many players as we have, there's room for everybody. Dave, the GM, how are you doing, sir? We are talking about a GM issue, which is basically one of our players. He is a character, though. He's got like a doing very well, Michael. The group is up to like level 6 and 7. So I let new players start at like level 5. And he has decided he wants to retire his higher level character because he's just not happy playing a ranger. And there's another ranger in the group. So he wants to make either a warrior or something. The game, of course, I'm speaking of, the game in question is Old School Essentials Advanced. And I mean, if somebody really wanted to butter me up, I would probably allow the alternate characters and stuff uh, from the expansions. But I don't know. Look at this guy. Freaking
What is up, Bear?
murderous
What?
DM over here. That's what he is, a killer DM.
Fuck, dude.
They warn you about killer DMs in the DMG.
Only 13, 14 characters in 8 sessions.
Yeah. What the
Yeah,
hell
well,
are
none
you
of
guys
them-
doing?
Let's make this 100% clear. Not my fucking fault. They never use teamwork. The minute the fight starts going in a direction, half of them flee, half of them stay in the fight.
Which is so weird.
They don't share resources with each other. They don't trust each other. They don't communicate well with each other. I even gave them more hit points than you get at first level to give them a leg up, and they still just nope.
So it's like a group of strangers hanging out together instead of an adventuring party.
Well, because they were all a group of strangers, right? And then in that group of strangers, you have these 2 people, Coco and Doc Flamingo, and both of them like to play obstinate, hard-headed people.
Well, I mean, OSC Classic, which really is just reformatted BX. I love it, but I like advanced options, which
I
is
put advanced
exactly the
options
same rules, just different. You got more characters.
I was mixing the 2 together, and it was fine. But
And then
Well, dumb
Mobius,
guy,
to
dumb.
answer your question, will he be happy? Well, he can change his character after a couple of sessions, and he'll start right back at the bottom again. And if he keeps doing it while everyone else is advancing, he's going to keep being the low man on the totem pole. If that's what he wants to do, that's up to him. I'm not going to stop him. But it's like, yeah, that's what your problem was. That's why all your characters were dying, because instead of, helping each other out and doing shit, they were running around all crazy style. And
Oh, yeah. Hey, Hunter. No, it was hilarious, dude. It was absolutely hilarious. But that's okay.
oh yeah.
We're going to do some 5e, but it's only set in my setting where I have all the grim rules in place and the darker rules in place. We'll see how they do there.
Oh, I was listening. You know that. I was commenting.
Well, I didn't know what time you left, Dad, so I don't know if you heard the final decision.
I did. I sat and listened to you describe all the new characters and how the world is and everything.
Hey, bro, we're gonna eat dinner, so I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Bye, Hungar.
Bye, Bear. It sucks that I had to hop off.
Well, maybe
Okay,
you
brother.
can jump back on after dinner.
Yeah, I eat dinner at 5 o'clock.
Me too.
Well, go
Hungar,
eat dinner
food
then.
coma. He's not coming back.
But
It's- Steak knife.
Yeah, it's going to be Hungar food coma. That's what's going to happen.
I think, I don't know, is this like just a product of online gaming, since you're not actually in the same room?
You're not an
And I
arm's
mean
reach
the
of each
players, not the DM.
other. Hey, you're not an arm's reach of each other to give each other a swat.
Or something, It's like, the only time I've ever had a player character abandon the other player characters is when all the other player characters were dead.
Yeah.
At which case, this player character activated a ring of invisibility and ran his ass out. Because, I mean, what's he going to do? Stand there and die with them? He was in the heat of the battle the whole time. But once everybody started dropping, he fought until he was the last guy. And then he's like, yeah, I'm out. Well, it was a her, but and nobody, not me and not any of the other players, gave her any guff about it, because it was like, yeah, I mean, when shit's that obvious, and it wasn't even a hard fight like what you said. last night. It's not that it was a hard fight. In this case, it was just the dice were like, yeah, you're going to lose everything.
Well, but here's an example from last night, right? 3 of them wound up paralyzed, 2 of them run and don't stop to pull the paralyzed people with them. So the ghouls take them and have a snack.
Ghoul kibble.
Seems pretty fucking cut and dry to me, man.
Oh,
But we must always blame the GM. It's always the GM's fault. Always, always, always.
See, it's like the old saying we had when I used to be heavy into MMOs. If you do a raid and it turns out very successful, everyone congratulates the raid leader, who almost always is a frontline melee tank guy.
Right.
But if the raid fails, everyone comes down hard on the healer. And I learned this through observation because the one game I talk about the most, Dark Age of Camelot.
Yeah.
Well, my wife and I played together. I was a main frontline tank, and she was the healer. And after going on lots of raids and just observing the way things went, one night I told her, I said, have you noticed this? And she was like, yeah. You know, it's like, if the raid's a success, Conkabar is the greatest raid leader of all time. If the raid falls apart for any reason, including because of me, it's Solzarai sucks as a healer, and we need a different healer next time. It's like those guys I just kicked out raids though. And then like when my buddy Skid finally hit level 50 and I let him join the guild, he took over leading raids and he was so much better at it. He was just so much more patient. Whereas I ran
more nuts.
I ran raids like it was Hell's Kitchen and I was Gordon Ramsay. You know what I mean? Like somebody do something, I'd be like, what are you, an idiot? And then
the fuck are you doing near the whelps?
Yeah, right. That was kind of, to a degree, that was kind of me. You know, I was just like, here's what we're going to do. Don't be fuck ups, whatever. But my buddy Skid was from Calgary. He is an ex-oil worker who got a job writing jingles. And he was really like calm, collected, super organized. And man, the first time I met him, he ran up to my character when I was one of maybe 20 people on the server that had max leveled. And he was like a low level guy. And he ran up and he's like, hey, can I join your guild? And I don't know, maybe I was feeling like a dick or something. But I was like, ask me when you're level 50. And he said, okay. And he ran off. I never thought about it again. Months later, I'm out, you know, harvesting or doing some shit. And a level 50 guy runs up to me and he's like, hey, man, remember when you said if I hit level 50, I could join your guild? And I'm like, okay. And I invited him in. And then he became my right-hand man out of everybody. Nice. It was very stressful when James, people would stress out. They'd talk about quitting the game. I mean, because I was like that Romanian guy, you know? Yeah. What the fuck? And we're all on team
near the whelps.
More dots. Now slow down the dots.
Too much, enough dots.
And actually, now I'm not like that. When the wife and I played Warhammer Fantasy Online, I didn't get upset about anything. You know, I had my dark elf warrior, and I just ran around, and she had her dark elf sorcerer, and we just ran around together, killing elves all day. You know, it was like cool. You know, and if we died, we'd just laugh about it and, you know, respawn and go at it again. But Yeah, Hungar is like, fuck all that. I'm just going solo. But here's the thing, though. Hungar was playing a healer. So the rule last I mentioned, a forehand, was in play.
Yeah.
Hey, Doc, how you doing, man? So if anything went wrong on the raid, dungeon, whatever we were doing, the healers always caught shit. Because it was always like, why didn't you heal me? We could have won that if you'd healed me.
I think
And
you might have to put the link up again.
see, my wife got smart. She started putting macros on her keyboard where she could click on somebody and hit the macro and it would yell out and shout name, which is whoever she's clicked on. You are too far away for me to heal you. That which made it very good for tower and castle defenses, because you know how sometimes you start whipping someone's ass and they turn to run, and your initial response is to chase them. But if you get out of hill range and you're chasing that guy, well, all his friends are out there, and they're going to beat your ass, and then you're going to spawn far away, have to run all the way back, and then run into the castle before they kill you. So yeah, it's always best. Don't run away from healers. I had to learn that the hard way, but I am currently still working on a bunch of fantasy figures. Like I said, I'm getting ready to put the gloss coats on my Venger figures. They're done. So my technique, which is just mine, and maybe not the best, is I put a good coat of Games Workshop hard coat on them, let it completely dry, and then put the matte coat on them. That way, they're super protected. RuneScape. Yeah, I played RuneScape for a long time, and then somebody stole everything I had, and I logged in, and it was all gone. And then I tried to contact like a dev, and it just sent me to their homepage where it says that they take no responsibility for any stolen items. And what was weird is how they could have got my password. I randomly generated a 15 whatever password of just random letters and numbers. So, the game said it was a super strong password and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I logged out one night with like 1 million gold and all kinds of great shit. Logged on the next day, I had nothing. I was just like, yeah, I'm done. Never played it again. Should we take bets on if Mr. Max will go over his allotted segment time on Legion of Myth stream tomorrow?
What's the topic tomorrow? I mean, I'm not there, so I don't give a fuck. But
it's easy to get him to go over time anyway. All you got to do is ask him a question he's interested in, and he'll go over time.
The Frenchman?
No, Max.
No, he's saying Mr. Max. That's Max Boivin. Or do you mean Max Liao?
Yeah, he says Legion of Myth.
Well, no,
so
but
that's
I think Mr. Max is a guest panelist tomorrow. I don't know. Fucking clarify, Hunter. Jesus Christ. We shouldn't have to be trying to read your mind over here, buddy.
Yeah, Mr. Max stopped hanging out with me entirely. I don't even know why.
Yeah,
he was always around, and then boom, he become part of like that little group Shauner put together with him.
The little 4D crowd.
Yeah, the 28 millimeter guy, but 28 millimeter guy, he still comments on videos and stuff. He's still around, but there for a little bit, they had like a little club going where they were like pro.
I was the devil for that club, so I completely understand.
You were the devil?
Yeah.
Damn.
So Rick, 28 millimeter, decided to misinterpret something that happened on a live stream as me rolling my eyes at 4D gaming. I wasn't. I was rolling my eyes at something Justin said. And he went off and he said a bunch of mean shit. Mr. Max told him he was wrong. Justin told him he was wrong. 4D gaming is their thing. 4-dimensional gaming. So two of the people told him he was wrong. He didn't let go of it. He kept just being a dick to me and saying mean shit about me and all that. And then that encouraged some of the other hangers on to be fucking mean about me. And then I decided to give them a piece of my mind about what I fucking thought of them at that point. I made it clear
maybe
it wasn't me who started it.
I have a stupid question, Bear.
Go ahead.
What is 4D gaming?
Exactly. And that's all you need to ask yourself. Remember Sean's whole thing about people are 3D gamers? Shauner's whole thing about that?
I remember there for a while, Shauner had like a major beef with people who played D&D because he said it was not really a role-playing game. It was an adventure game. And, if you wanted an actual role-playing game, you had to play something with better mechanics for role-playing. And I was always like, well, okay, whatever. I mean, don't confront me none, long as the rent is paid by Friday, right? But I never heard them call their little game.
Oh, yeah, they call it 4D, and that's fine. They can 4D all they want. I don't give a shit. That's 4D because I didn't give a fuck. It's just the fact that I suddenly found myself in this drama because of a misinterpretation, and no one wanted to fucking listen to reason. There's, just wanted to be assholes about it. At one point, one of them came after me because of when I was DMing for Table Breakers, and Chimerian had his little rage quit. And then I was being accused of kicking him out. And I'm like, no. Well, you had him on your channel. You treated him like that. Wasn't my channel. I was on their channel. I was the guest in their house. And that's how he treated me, Like, I'm so fucking tired of these children on the internet and little babies who just...
Well, Kai, I had seen Max Lau make Kai quit a stream in like under a minute.
Okay, but that's because Max can get right up your fucking ass sometimes.
Max rolled in. Kai was there. We were talking about something. Me and Kai were getting along, even though he is a little spurgy, but whatever. And then Max just out of the blue says, I don't give a F what anyone says. Orcs are evil. They will always be evil. And none of you guys can convince me otherwise. And Kai just left. It was like, boom, he was just gone. And I was like, what just happened here?
Nice.
But that's what happened. Max just rolled in and said orcs were evil, and Kai, for some reason.
Listen, and I said it at the time, and I say it now. I have no issue with Kai. I have nothing against him. I just figured he was having a real shitty day, and it was one of those bad situations. And he and I have had like a couple of words since. There's no animosity on my end. I don't know about his end, but none on my end. But the 4D thing, I don't fucking get that at all. I don't get why I got to be the fucking devil for them. I don't get it. I don't give a fuck.
Well, it doesn't matter because I don't think they exist.
They don't exist.
Like the RPG Brigade, they have long since gone the way of
I don't know.
The dodo. It's like people get together and they have these great ideas about how they're going to change the world, but at the end of the day, nothing changes. Shit's just going to be what it's going to be, and whatever, To me, and I told Shauner this when he and I talked, because we talked a lot. Actually, like offline, we talked a lot, Shauner and I. And I told him, I said, you guys are just coming off as like elitist pricks.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, maybe that's the point, so that, we don't have to be bothered by, these basically plebes, but he didn't say plebes. He said some other word for it. And I was just like, well, I mean, you do what you do, bro, but I'm the best DM there ever was. So you guys can keep pretending, but whatever.
Dude. Listen.
At which he kind of laughed that off, but I used to always tell him I'm a way better DM than him. And he would be like, and I'd make fun of him because I remember one time I was interviewing him. And he was talking about, like, when he runs Traveler, if someone says they pull a pistol out and shoot somebody in the face, he don't even make them roll dice, depending on the range and stuff. And I'm just like, so you're not actually playing a game then. You're just telling stories back and forth.
Oh fuck! How'd you take that?
The OSR, no, here's okay. Off grid gaming, I can tell you your first mistake. No, your second mistake, because your first mistake is you're Canadian.
Hey,
I'm joking, guys.
hey.
I'm joking. I know you're in here. No, there is no OSR.
I'm in the middle of eating, but I wanted to hop in on this subject anyway. When people get on here and say that they don't like the way certain people play D&D or whatever. Okay. Yeah. I have all those D&D shirts you gave me. Wear them to the store sometimes. And there's this kid who works in the meat department. He's in his 20s. And he started playing D&D about a year ago. And he is playing 5e because, well, that's whatever new player plays. And you should see the look in his eyes when he sees me, so he can run out of the meat department from cutting meat and tell me about his last adventure. Is it the kind of D&D that I play? No, but is it awesome to see somebody so happy to talk about something that they like?
Yes.
Right. Like, are you gonna be like, in actuality, everything you're doing is wrong, and you should like fuck off or something?
No, I'm going to sit there and let him tell me how his Dragonborn monk ranger kicks all the ass and has so much fun playing the game.
Yes, I was being facetious.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. But
I have a simple rule, guys, which is this. You want to critique how I game? Show me better. Don't talk. Show. I show my games. I run my games live for people to see. They can come and criticize. They can enjoy whatever you want. But at least I'm putting my dick out where I say it's going to be.
I just find it awesome to where when people start telling me about their games and how excited they are about it and how they can't wait for their next game.
I think James is lagging.
Would love.
James is lagging bad.
James said, "We're getting none of what you're saying. All I heard was Filipino." I would prefer Filipina if you don't mind.
Yeah. I was making a play on your name.
Ah, yes, there it is again.
And I always
kind of funny a little bit. I mean, not every day, but once in a while.
It's a little funny.
But no, the reality is you broke up, but I think based on like the every other word that came through, that I get what you're saying and agree.
Well, no, but again, all I said was, if you want to fucking criticize my gaming, that's great. I put my gaming out there for you to see. But before you start criticizing it, show me what you do that's so much better. Show me how you're superior or you're doing your thing, and then I'll fucking watch it and go, okay, cool, you're clearly better than me. Awesome. I hope that makes you feel like a big man. Because I don't fucking judge my life by fucking role-playing.
I always tell Max and them when they're doing their show, it's like, you fools need to catch up because I'm playing 148,270 Dungeons and Dragons. You guys are slackers.
And if I want to feel like a big man, I just remember that I married a woman with very small hands.
There you go.
So there's that.
I'm not sure what that reference is, but I'm sure it's filthy.
Yeah, I'm not getting the detail with it out of respect for my wife, but she has very small hands, which means everything she holds looks way, way bigger.
All right.
Now you got it? I mean,
he got it like, the first time. He was just paying.
Well, there were a couple of variants. I was weighing things that could mean.
I'm just saying. I mean,
one worse than the next.
Back to the topic.
I guess we were just talking about the 4D thing and how I don't
even want to talk about that, really, because then you just get their fucking vitriol comes down on you because you mentioned 4D and you didn't go, and it's the greatest thing ever. So
No,
I'm
the
gonna
vitriol
tell
never
everybody
comes
plays
down
their
on
game.
me.
Play the
You
game
they
the way
might,
you like
but
to
not
play the
me.
game. The only person I'm going to judge is James because he runs the game, and I'm going to tell him if it sucks.
I
Which
only
he
judge
hasn't
GURPS
yet,
players.
so
Doc, you want to tell James why everything went to shit last night and why we have
I
13
was
dead characters in
watching.
the campaign
I was
from a
watching.
player's point of view?
For my, it's a grossly undisciplined party full of cowards.
Battle started. Janet climbed the rope out of there and didn't even go down the hall with you anyway.
This has been the bane of this party. It's just like if people would just form a line, protect the fallen people, we wouldn't have been in that situation. We wouldn't have had to charge after those people and met the freaking talking ghoul, which really completely freaked me out.
Well, some ghouls and ghasts do still have an intelligence and some memories of their past life.
All right, off grid, be good.
Like a ghoul,
Later,
like the
Hungar.
king of the ghouls is
No,
literally
OGG.
that.
Yeah, we met him. He sucked. I didn't like him at
Yeah,
all.
yeah. He lives under one of the cities or something. Catch you later, Hungar. But
Off grid.
No, OGG's leaving.
oh, okay. Off OGG, your grilling is done. Well, I hope it's some good Alberta beef because everybody knows.
Bird of beef, low salt, low pepper.
Low salt.
Low
Blasphemy.
salt, low pepper. 4 minutes
not
per
low
side.
salt, a
Let it
little
rest down the hatch.
Don't you
Grill
speak
marks, baby. Gotta flip it every few seconds to get those grill marks.
Nope. 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 Leave it alone. 4 minutes per side down the hatch. That's for a thick one. But
That's
yeah,
why
I
you said
mean the thing with D&D, especially old school D&D, BX, etc. style D&D, is you live or die on teamwork.
Yeah, and we had none.
If you're fighting in a tunnel and the fighters are not up front, shields and whatever, and if you ain't got some guys in the back trying to throw stuff or whatever, and the healers aren't healing, then it's going to be hard. Even battles that shouldn't be hard become deadly.
Oh yeah,
if,
simple
you know.
stuff can kick your ass.
Right.
the healers need to heal and the killers need to kill.
Right. That's why there's classes. And everyone who picks a class should be well aware of the expectations of their class and willing to do it, you know?
Bear, I'm gonna say this about your game. The reason my character was so screwed up in play style is I had no idea how to play the character.
Yes, but instead of talking to me, well, here's what you did, Hungar. First session, you were amazing. You were taking the campaign seriously. Your character wasn't making goofy, shitty jokes. You were taking it seriously. Second session, the goofy, shitty jokes started to creep in a little bit. Third session, can I speak to the man in charge? Oh, for fuck's sake. But you completely just gave up on the character at that point in time, bro.
Yeah, because I didn't know how to play the character. I didn't know what its role was. If I'd have picked just like a regular fighter or like a thief or something, I'd have known what role was expected of me.
So here's my next question for you. Was your mouth broken or was it your fingers that couldn't type to ask me?
I was embarrassed to say anything about it.
That, okay, I will accept that. But you are also a grown-ass man.
Yeah, and grown ass
You're
men.
very nice, Bear. I would not accept that because every now and then I have to threaten to punch him in the fucking head because we'll be playing a game.
Yeah, your brothers. You're
and he'll
obliged to
pull
hit
his
each other in the
phone
head.
out and start wanting to show people memes and shit.
I haven't done that in a long ass time.
Yeah, I had to threaten to beat your ass.
That's not it. It's just I started getting a lot of the times when I pull my phone out was when we were doing something that wasn't very interesting and when other people were running different games.
No, dude. That is not acceptable behavior. You can't. Oh, I'm bored right now.
Because
so I'm
someone
gonna start
else
fucking with
was
shit.
the focus of what was going on.
That's
Nope,
not
that's
cool.
it.
And you
we're
were
playing
in the
right now.
backdrop. So
Then
you
now that's
start
bullshit
fucking around
because
on your phone.
the game we're playing right now, there's somebody who is the main focus of the game, and I'm not it, and I'm totally about playing the game.
Who's the
It
main
was when
focus
we were
of the
playing
game?
other games that I was not interested in playing, but I was playing anyway just to hang out.
So
I don't
Hunter,
even know
to
who
answer
the
your
main focus
question,
of this game is.
Vampire?
we set up having a serious game. We all agreed we were playing a serious narrative, story-driven game with a plot, and it wasn't for shits and giggles.
And I screwed it up.
And when Hungar said he wanted to play, I told him point blank, "What was it I said to you, Hungar, about you playing?"
We need to be serious and take it serious.
And you said, "Yeah, man, I want to show everybody how serious I can be." And first session, you did.
I'm totally
Next session,
100% taking responsibility of being a screw up on your game.
You're not. You weren't a screw up, dude. You just lost the script and gave up. That's all.
Yeah, I was the screw up.
You weren't the screw up. Malachi remains the screw up at all times.
Malachi.
Do something that's when I do something, I take ownership of it.
Again, I don't blame you for being a screw up. It just wasn't a good fit, and you saw the writing on the wall and dipped out. And I can't blame you for doing that. There's nothing wrong.
I blame him because he has brought shame and dishonor on our family for generations to come.
You gotta commit harikari right now or what?
No, the first offense is the pinky.
It's like you don't get rice-a-roni, you don't get the Britannica. You don't even get a lousy copy of our home game. You're
Do I get the stovetop stuffing?
No. You are a complete loser. You know what that's from, right?
Oh, that was with the Weird Al.
Yeah, I probably would, Hunter, especially if I was trying to run a serious game and you decided to bring your amateur comedy routine to the table. I'd be like, you know what? We're done. Goodbye. Nothing personal, just not a good fit.
There is a
That's
time.
why I dipped out when I did, because I didn't want to make it where, I made everybody dislike the game.
There is a time and a place, and I've found even when running a game like Call of Cthulhu and everybody being really serious, that sometimes just funny shit will happen, and people laugh, but that doesn't ruin the game because after that little bit of brevity, as a matter of fact, I think you could argue that having that couple little seconds of brevity in the middle of a horror game actually makes the horror game more horrific because it's like they open the door and something happens and someone screams and everybody sees that it was just like a coat rack that fell out and they laugh at him, and then the next door they open, something jumps out and starts ripping people's heads off like a Jason. With a big knife.
Like that Supernatural series, there's an episode where Dean gets the scare virus and the cat is like, that was scary. And then a monster shows up.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes in D&D, there is definitely room, even if you're being serious, for some like graveyard humor,
If
Whatever
the
they
comedy
call it.
comes from the situation
Yeah.
with the characters in the moment, beautiful, majestic. If it comes from players sitting around a table trying to be funny fuckers, not so good.
Yeah, take that shit down to the amateur comedy club.
Exactly. There's an open mic night. You can go get booed. Have fun.
Save a burned mouth. Why is rice-a-roni so hot? LOL. Anyway.
Tis what it is. But you know what's worse than someone doing comedy routines in your serious fantasy,
Oh, here it comes.
high fantasy plot game? You know what's worse than that? Them committing suicide and not telling you, and then letting the game slowly discover their dead character in their crew quarters and having to deal with that shit on a live stream because they didn't have the fucking balls to tell you backstage, "Hey, my character's going to kill himself."
It was
you cut the
completely
fucking black.
spontaneous. It was
Yeah,
spontaneous.
yeah.
Don't you know killing yourself is bad?
Well, I do. He didn't.
I mean, I assume your character would know too, right? What were you playing, Traveler?
That was the.
Star Trek.
I just wanted to remove the character because it was getting
Star Trek.
bringing the whole thing into something that happened.
No. So there's this great plot developing where basically he had killed a Klingon in cold blood, and it was on the security recordings, and the captain found out, and there was going to be an investigation, and there would have been a court martial. So lots of amazing role playing for everybody to get behind. Some people might have sided with him, some might have turned against him. The captain may have had his back. We won't know. We'll never know, because he just decided to kill his character and not tell anyone. And then when they went to his quarters to find him, he tells us we find him dead. And I'm like, well, there's some 4D bullshit if I ever heard it. Because
Ultra American, I would ignore the safety tools in the Monolith Conan game. I would go so far as to say they didn't even want to put them in there. They just did it so that people wouldn't yell at them.
Safety tools do not belong in a Conan game.
Because I have so much of Monolith's like board games and shit, and believe me, they are huge proponents of chainmail bikinis and blood and gore and all the most horrible shit. So it's a role-playing game and somebody's like, let's just throw this shit in there so people won't yell at us.
Safety tools are, they make me feel warm and fuzzy inside.
I have gotten to where it depends on like the company. If I know for a fact the guy making the game is a total douchebag, I might reconsider buying anything from them. But them putting the safety tools thing in there, now that I know a little bit more about the corporate world, I understand how a business is always going to bow to whoever's screaming at them. And, you know, whether we like it or not, the loudest people on the internet screaming, even though they are never going to buy the game, just companies out of pure reflex are immediately going to do whatever they need to do to shut down whatever controversy is happening. It's just the way it is. I am afraid to say, guys. Corporations are cowardly.
Anybody think with Perkins and everybody gone from WotC and them having whatever they have left, though I saw Garyby's video and I laughed my balls off.
What did he have to say?
Oh, he was getting mad at Professor Dungeoncraft for saying that, you know, it's the beginning of the end and using a clickbait title, despite the, and Garyby going, I never use them. He does every time. Saying that because he didn't acknowledge that there were female designers that were still there and all this kind of shit. It was like the most fucking soy boy, stupid, drive it in my car argument I ever heard in my life for a point that didn't need to be made. But beyond that, do you guys think that this is the clock has started on how long it takes for Hasbro to license out D&D as a for the game?
I think
they're going to
Masters.
I think they'll keep
100% right.
I think they'll keep ownership of it, but I think they're going to license it out.
Yeah, I think I'm saying. Do you think the clock has started that they're going to just license it to Renegade or something? Because they figure out we don't have to maintain the staff, we don't have to fucking pay healthcare, we don't have to pay 401ks, we don't have to pay any of that shit, and we still get all the money, and all that other shit becomes Renegade's.
Is the reboot of TSR still going, or did that?
No, that fell apart.
That's a shame.
Like everything in the OSR, people started yelling at each other and getting pissy with each other and picking sides.
Which is why I say there is no OSR. There's just a random collection of people who all have their D&D heartbreakers that they like. And it's like a loose confederation of libertarians that every single one of them is convinced they're the most libertarian. Also, that's a play on the fact that the Libertarian Party will never win in America.
Well, there's no libertarians in it, so it's kind of a moot point.
That's the whole thing, because you ask any libertarian about any other libertarian, and it's always going to be like, they're doing it wrong.
No.
And OSR is the same way. Like, if you're playing your game, other people will be like, oh, no, I don't like that game. I play this game. Or even when me and Shadow are on here, and I'm like, I like OSE Advanced, and he's like, first edition AD&D for me. Always. And I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? But that's an example of.
But that's the thing. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, of course, he's a bro. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Everyone can do whatever the fuck they want as long as they're not hurting anybody. So why the fuck do we care so much? And why do people get into these spurgy fucking arguments about it all the time?
Well, you answered your question right there.
Because people are bitches.
No.
Because they're all on the spectrum.
Were to carefully analyze his last statement, he would find the word that answered
Spurgy?
his- Yes.
Because I said Spurgy, so I'm implying they're all spectrumites.
Yeah. I think we all are, really. And I'm not trying to self-diagnose, but
spectrum.
the older I get, the more I think that at least the majority of players are on that spectrum. And maybe all of us are. It's quite possible that being super fans.
I took 5 tests in 1
Hey,
week
Janet.
and scored no signs of autism on all of them. So
you
I'm
might
just
be
a
the rare
dick.
one. But you
I'm
can't
just
tell
a
me
dick.
you haven't walked into a comic shop and saw them there.
Saw who?
The Spurgies.
Oh, I see them on my channel, dude. They're in my Discord. I attract for the Nerds Nerd laughed her ass off at me about this, but just like for some reason I attract them.
Well, you're a nice guy.
No, I'm not.
And she was 100% right for maybe once in her life, in my opinion. Watching your players last night was one of the most entertaining live plays I've ever seen. It was like watching an episode of the Keystone Cops. It was just like, oh my God.
Loved when they left the bodies, like they're retreating and they don't stop to save their paralyzed friends. They just leave them for the ghouls. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
I agree with you, Andre. Yes. But that's how OSR is. No OSR guy ever really meets the standards of any other hardcore OSR guy. Therefore, you either become like me, which is jaded and you don't give a shit, or you spend all your time on X arguing about 4D role-playing and other things I don't understand.
Did I ever tell you from last night what my favorite moment for the whole night was, James?
You did not tell me.
They are down in the dungeon, bottom of the stairs, fighting for their lives against the goblins, and Janet's bard leans her head into the stairwell and starts playing her flute. Basically giving them a soundtrack for their demise.
Yep. That was pretty good.
The best.
And then Janet runs up the rope. She's like, out of here. Catch you guys later. I can verify Bear's chat is full of spurgers, myself included. There's just, I think it's that way with all super fans of anything, you know. Comic book guys will get together and constantly argue over whichever hero is this or that. I mean, Star Wars guys know better. Star Trek guys, actually, they're generally pretty cool. The only thing they argue about is like which captain was the best.
Yeah.
But I mean, but D&D players, yeah. We can be a bunch of elitist assholes. And but I'm over that shit. I've been through all that. So, you know, right?
I decided to be over it the day in the 90s when I found myself in my buddy's comic book store having an argument with someone about whether or not Elric would beat Conan. And then as I'm like making my point, I catch my buddy whose story is out of the corner of my eye and he's just giving me this look like, you fucking moron. And I'm just like, shit.
Yeah, just don't engage.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if Elric's got the sword, it is what it is.
I'm not taking the bait. Fuck you. I just said that was my low water mark as a fan.
Okay, fine. See, I could have showed you the freaking troll face, just that smile.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, gotcha. Okay, look, I started the debate. Janeway, no. Picard, yes. Best captain. Okay, Picard is the most believable captain of a starship.
Really?
Well, I mean, he's dignified. He's older. He actually acts like he might be an officer. But Kirk is the best captain because he goes down and like bangs green chicks.
He goes down. Everybody knows Kirk goes down.
Well, I mean, he must, because it's not like he has any shortage of names on his dance card.
I was always partial to Cisco, actually.
Cisco is good, but a lot of people will argue that Cisco don't count since he's on a space station.
Let me ask you. Let me just rephrase the question then. Never mind who's the best captain. Who's the best leader?
Kirk.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then close second, Cisco.
Yeah. Because Kirk always takes advice from his angel and devil and then thinks about it and then comes up with.
Well, I explained to you the writing technique they use there, didn't I, James?
You may have, but my memory.
Body, mind, and soul. Kirk is the body; he does the action. Spock is the mind; he presents the logical thought process, and McCoy is the soul; he presents the emotional human argument. And then they give their arguments to the body, and the body chooses which way it wants to go, and it acts as Kirk. Kirk is the body. That's what makes that show so fucking good to watch. That's why you like that show, and it's why every other Star Trek eventually winds up, except for DS9, being about 3 characters. And the rest are just pretty much background static and noise.
Well, we were talking about DS9 the other day. I remember I told you my favorite character was actually, I think, Quark.
Quark's an awesome character. Great character. He has 2 of my favorite scenes in the entire fucking history of the series. One where he's explaining to the Vulcan that peace is at an all-time bargain, and you can buy it now because everybody has war, but nobody has peace. And that speech is amazing. And 2 is when he convinces Garrick
the root beer
to try root beer,
and
uses root beer as an analogy for the Federation. That's why Quark's awesome.
Kirk is my only captain. There you go. See, Kirk or Cisco? Yeah, agreed. Rather be led by Riker. Riker was just Kirk, except he was second.
A douchey version of Kirk.
We used to call him Re-Kirk when it first started.
Yeah, I mean, all right, like all the crazy shit Kirk did, that's what Riker did. He went down with the away party. He seduced alien chicks. He got into brawls. He was always gambling and carrying on and being a man's man. While Picard was always the quietly distinguished captain. And he knew everything about everything. Data, Data was okay character. I guess he was like their version of Spock in a way.
Yeah, they leaned a little heavy into the Pinocchio thing for me with Data.
John Sheridan, Andre says. Well, I mean, no, I don't think there's too many people that are going to hate on
Babylon 5.
B5. I mean, it was okay. I mean, it is good sci-fi. Back in an era where there were many good sci-fi shows on TV, all at the same time, you know? You had like Space Above and Beyond, B5, Next Generation, Voyager.
Beyond.
That was good. They needed to pick a lane between the fighter pilot and the
I agree.
bumpers.
It should have been
or had 2 sets of characters.
Right. The fighter part of it
wouldn't let them. So one of the things you guys need to know about is like it's all well and good to sit around and say they should have. They are also dealing with budget constraints and studios and producers who are going, do this, stop doing that, fuck you.
Yeah.
My buddy who's an armorer, I'm talking 10 years, who was an armorer for the gun movies here in Montreal, so all the gun guys, in his workshop, when you walked in, there was a picture beside the wall. It was 2 frames. First frame was the producer going, faster, cheaper, get it done. The second frame of the cartoon was him looking at a reel of film going, why does this suck? You know, it's like, well, you know. And that's the big
cheaper, get it done.
Exactly. Hello. Can I help you? Is there something I can do to make your life better?
That little hop.
Is there something I can do to make you feel happy? Okay, you're happy? Good.
Is that Misty?
No, that's Beans. Misty rarely jumps up now.
Misty has the fluffy tail, right?
Yeah, Misty's the long hair. He's ride or die when it's bedtime. When I head to the bed, when I had to take a nap or if I'm going to bed for the night, he is on the bed, on his back, stomach, on display, purring his head off. Like he's like, we're on bed now, yay! And the nice thing is when he sleeps in my room, he'll just let me sleep all night and not bother me. This asshole, about 4 a.m., decides, I'm hungry. You should wake up and feed me now. And jumps on me, and then like I'll grab him and hold him, and he'll fall asleep for an hour, and then he'll wake up and he'll jump on me and wake me up a whole bunch of times. So because he can't be trusted in the room, sadly, Misty doesn't get to sleep in the room, and now the door is closed at night when I need to sleep for work. But on the weekends, I let them in, and I regret it about 4 a.m. when I kicked both of them out of the room and closed the door. Isn't that right, mister?
That is the joy of cats.
Yes. This little asshole.
Yeah.
He's just doing inventory about shit he can fuck up right now. He's just looking around like, what can I fuck with later? You know, like he's just making his plans for the night.
Yeah.
I've had chicken with beans, and I don't mean with him. I mean, I've had chicken with, black beans. Oh, wait, you're black beans. Oh.
I understand that chickens here all have names, but I don't learn them.
I'm gonna bounce off and enjoy my food coma.
Well, enjoy it.
You do that, and if you log on to Steam later, I will send you an invite.
I'm actually going to log off and play some Codan. I don't want to be a liar.
Yeah, I know.
Hungar, I give you props for finally owning your bullshit about quitting the Codex Albana game.
Yes. And I am interested in getting into a Heroes game with you. I even have a hero I've been thinking about.
Yeah, you ever heard the expression once bitten, twice shy? You ever heard that expression?
You got to give me another chance, Barry. You know I'll be good. I promise.
We'll see.
I even told you about my hero, the one that can control wires.
As his brother, I'm going to go ahead and say, Bear, you can't trust him.
Says the guy who's trying to get me to play games with him constantly.
Yeah, but I don't think you're going to stay there and be of any help. I just think it'll be amusing to run around and get killed by trolls for a little bit. It's not like I think you're actually going to contribute anything. I'm not worried about it. Plus, it's
I'm going to be good, bro.
Role playing at all. It's just me yelling at you for getting us killed all the time.
Quit being an ass. I want to play a game, and I want to play a game of Heroes. I want to take it serious.
We'll see what happens. I haven't got a new game starting right now, but when I get a new one started, I'll let you know. I promise.
I know.
Well, that's the best you're going to get.
But I'm also going to be a real picky fuck about your character, so don't get too attached to this wire guy.
Talk to you about my character concept and everything beforehand, and get some pointers on the things he can and cannot do.
I'm going to make you play a transgender feminist superhero.
I could be a lesbian.
Nope.
He technically already plays that in our vampire game.
Oh, is he a Malkavian or a Toreador?
Malkavian, dresses like Ziggy Stardust.
Serial killer.
Serial killer.
But I only hunt pre-op trans people.
And his feeding flaw is he can't live on blood. He has to eat. He is an organivore. He has to eat the organs.
And after
a new vampire thing.
Yeah.
After I'm done feeding,
second edition.
After I'm done feeding, I have to cut the body up in different pieces and place it around different parks in the city because that's just my thing.
Because he's crazy.
As a poop house rat.
Yeah, he is super crazy, but he helped me out. So
let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen any other kind of Malkavian other than one of these two variants? Serial killer? Hang on. Serial killer? Cat in the hat.
Yes. Because let me tell you a story. When we decided years ago to play vampire, the one thing I asked the brother of mine that runs the game is don't let anyone be a Malkavian. We have three Malkavians at the table.
I hate the other two.
Oh, they all hate each other. That's the thing. They're all Malkavians and they all hate each other. And the one Malkavian, her thing is she has to check her tarot cards before she'll ever make any decision on anything.
I'm going to kill her.
And one time her tarot cards told her that the Ventru was out to get her or some shit. So she like sniped the Ventru with a 44 caliber rifle or something. Of course, it didn't hurt the Ventru because it's just normal damage, and Ventru, you know, get fortitude. But still, it was like
I never understood why Ventru got fortitude, other than I always felt like, was there a deal they cut at one point to get fortitude? And like before they got fortitude, they had something else, and they just were able to swap it out in like a trade. Like I don't get it. Doesn't make sense for them to have Ventru.
They changed some stuff around, like, but I mean, before Hungar, well, Hungar can go. Bear, I don't know how much you remember, but the new thing is like, if you, for whatever reason, decide or want to play the old clan Zamichi, they dropped one of their disciplines and replaced it with Protean.
Please tell me it wasn't vicissitude.
No, vicissitude you can take instead of Protean. And it's actually like part of Protean. So like if you want to be a flesh crafter and shit, yeah. But they get animalism, obviously, because, you know, Count Dracula talking to animals. They get...
Can Setites still remove hearts, or is that now?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
They get the ability to change in the bats and all that shit. That's Protean, I think. And then they get Dominate. So they have Dominate, Protean, and Animalism.
I'm not playing the new fucking vampire. It sounds stupid.
It's actually the best.
I heard the Ravenos are gone. I heard the Ravenos are gone.
No, they're there.
Or they don't have their illusion power anymore or something? Like they changed something about the Ravenos?
They have done this thing where every level of the discipline has at least 2 powers, and you pick the one you want. Ugh. So like with Obfuscate, you can choose... at level 1, you can choose an ability that makes it completely silent within like however many square feet of you. Or you can choose the one that makes you invisible as long as you don't move. And as you level up through disciplines, they branch off. And then on top of that, there's combination disciplines. Like my character, because I have a high level of Obfuscate and I have Fortitude, I can do an attack called Blink, which is basically it combines those 2 disciplines into a 3rd discipline. So you're looking at me, I vanish, I show up directly in front of you, even though we're distance apart, and punch you in the fucking head.
So that's celerity with Obfuscate.
Yeah. And there's a lot of shit like that, like Protean plus something equals vicissitude.
No, thanks. I'm stick with classic World of Darkness. I'm good.
But the best part of 5e, honestly, is the hunger dice. And you've heard me go on about it, because it makes you constantly aware of how close you are to being a fuckhead.
See, I thought when you said hunger dice, it was just referring to the way OSR people interact with each other, like it's the Hunger Game for D&D people.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It is.
Hunger dice.
Okay,
can you put us back to that thing where
the character doesn't have a blood pool necessarily?
James, change the layout. This is really creepy.
I'm gonna sign because I want to review the last Star Trek game before the game tonight. So
all right,
I will catch you guys later.
All right.
I gotta go soon too because I got.
How you doing, Arcs Disciple? Yeah, we all gotta go before too long, but
that's the story of life.
Yeah, I just stopped when I said that. I was just like, I accidentally said something incredibly true. But no, the hunger dice, every time you want to use an ability, instead of spinning blood pool, you roll dice to see if you get high enough, then you can just use the ability. It costs nothing, right? But if you don't get high enough, you have to replace one of the black die in your die pool with a red die. And every time you get another red die, right? And the red die even if you succeed, if the red die come up away, your character can go crazy. The DM can take advantage of him. It activates whatever your clan flaw is. So you are constantly, every time you want to do anything in 5th edition, looking at the die pool. And the only way to get rid of the red dice is to feed. And you can never get rid of one of them unless you absolutely kill the person you feed on. And unless your humanity is very low, then you got to make humanity checks, lose humanity and all that. Now, Hungar's humanity is super low. That's why he wears makeup and wigs and shit, because otherwise he's pretty obviously not a human.
No, that I like. The Hunger Dice thing sounds nice. This mix match fucking disciplines, no.
Well, it was in 20th anniversary edition in the player's book. They had all kinds of mixed match bullshit in there too.
I hate that shit because then you're not playing the game anymore. You're playing the system.
Yes, yeah, I agree. Another reason I like 5e is because, again, at a point when you're playing 20th anniversary, which is why I convinced everybody to try 5e again, is because once you get a certain level of disciplines and if the DM allowed you to play a lower gen vampire, really you're playing a superhero game. And you would really just be better off playing a superhero game.
I agree.
And if you're playing the Bruja, you're just, I'm Captain so-and-so. I'm very strong and fast, and because it's what it really turns into, because there's no downside for using abilities. If you fed that night and you've got 15 blood pool, that means you can activate abilities 15 times, right?
Tremere still have Theft of Vitae?
Tremere, of course. They yeah.
And that's how you fucking deal with those players. Just send some Tremere hunters after them.
But like I said, the hunger die, you don't want 5 hunger die in your pool, because it basically guarantees the next time you do anything, your character's going to lose his shit.
In a frenzy, yeah.
You're right. And then you got to deal with the humanity. And that's assuming you don't break the fucking masquerade in the middle of the street.
The only way I will ever play Vampire again is if it's run like what we do in the Shadows.
Like if it's just you and a couple other people living in where did they live? Like Long Island or some shit?
Yeah, they're Staten Island.
Staten Island.
Staten Island.
Yeah, and they're like, you were supposed to conquer the New World. Well, we're making inroads here on Staten Island. I think we've conquered down to the end of the block.
A little bit of Alice Street we've taken too.
Yeah. My uncle was a Malkavian main in Vampire back when he played. Yeah. I absolutely despise Malkavians because I don't think anyone properly plays them.
Like I said, in LARP, you only ever see 2 types: serial killers and Cat in the Hat. That's it. That's all you're ever going to get from Malks.
Yeah. I mean, you never see anyone playing the Malkavian with like crippling depression.
Yeah, exactly. The one that just sits in the corner and just goes.
Yeah, you just never see that shit.
Watch out for him. Oh, he's going to kill someone. No, he's just bipolar.
Yeah. Well, the bipolar one might be a thing. He's depressed half of the month, and the other half he's all hyper running around, being everybody's best friend. And then
let's do stuff. Come on.
Something clicks, somebody insults him or makes fun of him, and he goes immediately into the but you don't see that kind of shit. You see bears,
serial killers, and Cat in the Hat. That's always, ooh, I'm a Malkavian. Ooh, like, fuck off.
That's exactly when I played the LARP and become the primogen of the Bruja clan, my whole thing was killing the Malkavians. Like the whole clan. We were like, we don't want any Malkavians alive in Orlando, but don't let the prince know. And they had to make so many rules for me. Like you're not allowed to engage in combat in bathrooms, and because I'd wait. I'd see a Malkavian player walk in the bathroom, and me and 2 or 3 of my guys would walk in behind and be like, physical challenge.
Yeah, my whole
And
thing
then,
was,
you know.
when I was Prince, my whole thing was Nosferatu are banned and to be killed on sight.
Yeah.
Because Nosferatu are the worst fucking clan.
Naja is pretty awesome, but my favorite is Nandor the Relentless.
Guillermo,
Nandor.
Guillermo, how do you feel? You're okay, Guillermo? Don't close the lid so hard. I can hear you breathing. Guillermo.
And my number 2 favorite person was Guillermo.
My number 1 was actually the Baron.
He was pretty cool, actually. They
Love
kept
the
burning
fucking
him up,
Baron.
but he kept living through it and forgiving them.
Yeah.
It was like, and then the first vampire that looked more like a freaking
Nosferatu.
gargoyle turned out to be okay.
Oh, no, the original van. Yeah, the first one. Yeah, he was just like a dog.
Yeah, he's like, okay. You know, he'd been
Yeah.
alive for so long. It was like, bleh.
But I like their first. What was I was watching? I finally rewatched the New Zealand the movie just to see if like I had a different perspective on it. I didn't, but I did love the fucking guy who lived in the basement, who was just like fucking. And I loved the friend Sean. No, something whatever his name was. I can't remember the friend, the human that they kept taking everywhere with them. I fucking love that guy. That guy was great.
The energy vampire.
Oh my god, Colin Ferguson.
Yeah. He'd just start talking and you'd see him all start just like, and then they'd be like, stop, are you feeding on us? He's like, yeah.
Colin
Yeah.
Ferguson was a strange character. And I gotta go, man. I gotta get ready for my Star Trek game.
Well, if you're going to go, I'm going to go and probably be a Viking.
Have fun.
I will try.
You will succeed.
Peace
I
and
know.
love, everybody. Thank you for dropping in and listening to Bear say wise things while I just exist. And he's like, I'm out of here. Peter looks like the master from Salem's Lot. Yeah. Nandor, believe it or not, if you were talking about Nandor, I seen an interview of him at like a Comic-Con, and he does not talk that way. He talks like any other like California type guy. And they actually asked him, do Nandor. And he like dropped into it. And it was like, so yeah. But I liked all the characters. The series definitely is 100 times better than the movie. The movie is like, but the series was really funny. But anyway, I've been meaning to clear coat these Vengers. And I do not mean the game designer. I mean this guy. I've got him on horse and on foot. So I need to get that done. Except I've been distracted. And then I'm going to go play some Valheim. And maybe my brother or brother-in-law or both are going. Maybe they'll join me and we'll all get murdered by trolls, because in that game a troll can generally one-shot you pretty much at any time. And until then, thanks for dropping by. And if I didn't see you this time, I hope I'll see you next time. And that is all. Go Wildcats.